Mortal Kombat 2 was my personal favorite Mortal Kombat from the original trilogy. Yeah, you sure wouldn't, know it by some of the gameplay footage you're about to see here, because what I've done is I've increased the game to its highest difficulty setting and basically let the good times roll. You're going to see me get my butt handed to me over and over and over again. This was probably the smartest thing I could have done, though, because I let you guys see some of the fatalities and whatnot, which honestly I don't remember whatsoever. I had a hard enough time just remembering the button combinations, and I found it to be a lot slower than I remembered it. So anyways, sit back and try not to laugh too hard at my expense. Mortal Kombat 2 was originally released in the arcades in 1993 during the great era of fighters. And it greatly enhanced the gameplay from the original MK. It allowed each character to perform 2 unique fatalities, or finishing moves. A babality, where you could turn your opponent into a baby, or friendships, where each character would do something kind of unique instead of killing the opponent. Like, let's say, Johnny Cage's autograph picture, for example. There was also 3 different stage fatalities that you could perform, including the one you're seeing there. There's also the pit, and there's one with spikes all on the ceiling. That was always a classic. To top it off, there were now 3 hidden opponents players could fight, including Jabe, Noob Saibot, and Smoke, which was pretty cool because the original only had Reptile. Now, the other thing that really set this one apart, obviously, whenever you're going to make a sequel, is you gotta, bigger is better. So MK2 featured 12 playable characters in total, with Shang Tsung and Reptile now actually selectable fighters. Brand new characters introduced in this one were Baraka, Jax, Kitana, Kung Lao, and Mileena. And it also introduced Shao Kahn and Kintaro to the series. Each of these characters would play really key roles in future installments. It's funny because this Mortal Kombat was so influential, it sort of seemed to do everything right. The only 2 characters who didn't appear from the original Mortal Kombat were Kano and Sonya, both of which you will see probably in the video. I'm not sure if I added them or not, in the stage with Shao Kahn in the background. It was a nice touch. Anyways, all around, Mortal Kombat 2 was just an excellent addition to the series and is very fondly remembered by millions of people around the world. Now, thanks to the game's tremendous arcade success, the home ports were equally as impressive. And by 1995, Mortal Kombat 2 had been released on every platform possible, including the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Gear, and Game Boy. There were even Master System versions. There was a version that was released on the PC. It just goes on and on. Each version was slightly different based on the power of the system it was released on. And when it was announced that the Sega Saturn would be receiving a port of Mortal Kombat 2 sometime in 1990, I think it was supposed to be the end of 95, but it ended up shipping early 96, we all thought that we would finally have an arcade-perfect port of the game. At that point in time, the 32X version was about as good as it got, the only problem being that the audio was a little bit garbled. Now, what we ended up getting was not an arcade perfect port at all. Sure, the graphics are pretty close. I mean, they look pretty good. And I love the fact that the arcade intro was included. That was a really nice touch. But the biggest problem was there's some input lag and loading. Lots of loading. You'll see like choppy. It's not smooth as the other versions are. Go play the SNES or the Genesis version and then come back to this and you'll see what I mean. The good news was that the loading times weren't as long as the Japanese exclusive version of Mortal Kombat II, which was released on the PlayStation, but it's still very noticeable. There was also a lot of lag when Shang Tsung morphed from one character into another. You actually could go into the options and set who he could transform into and who he couldn't because of the lag times. The same thing as you can see with fatalities and even some of the projectiles. It's just, like I say, it's not smooth. But by far the biggest change was in the audio department. You'll notice in the background over my voice that you just don't hear Shao Kahn saying, like, Scorpion wins, or even when you at the character select screen, it's just dead silent when you pick your character. So if you add all these things together, I was tremendously disappointed when this game finally hit the scene because of all of these shortcomings and the fact that we were told that this was going to be the perfect port and all that. The lag, the loading, and the audio issues all came together to just make me want to cry. There are much better ports out there, especially now with the modern day consoles. You can actually get arcade perfect ports for anyone who is interested for just a few bucks. If you are looking for the Sega Saturn version, just, take a look on eBay. You can practically get it for $10, $15, $20. I mean, it really depends on you and whether or not you're looking for a perfect, mint condition copy of the game. I recommend you check out the 32X version if you're looking for a port of the game that was released around the same time, just because it doesn't have any loading or any lag times or anything like that. So that's essentially Mortal Kombat 2 on the Sega Saturn. It's not the best, but it's unique, and if you're interested, by all means, go check it out. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll be back soon.
Finish him. Fatality.